Happy Monday, everyone, and it is time for our second review of the week, and it is time for some silver, Alex. Alex, you're going to be a bit of a professional on this one because you have been watching every twist, every turn, every tier, and every something else. Well, actually, before we do, we've got to go through the awards, haven't we? And we shook it up this year, and I'm still getting confused. Vessier is... what award is it? Oh, it's most improved. Thank you very much, Alex. Vestier then his third place for most improved, Ben, and I agree with that wholeheartedly because I think the Vestier came up from bronze, and the only driver from the promoted drivers to finish the season as well, and I think he finished in the top 10 as well. Mumford, yes. Mumford has been a long time member of ALR, and I love the fact that Mumford's found a good home with in silver. And I do think that Mumford, I'm going to put a cheeky fiver on Mumford being in the promotion spots for next season. And Gordo is the winner of the most improved. And I find that very odd to say that, Alex, because I remember a couple of years ago that Gordo was very much at the peak of his powers. But in the ground effect era, Gordo has fallen on hard times. But the Mercedes driver for this season, you'll see later on in the week as well, he's had a lot of success in F1 2023, hasn't he? So hats off to Gordo as well. So we start off at the home of British motorsport. Let me bring in Alex then. Nolsey, Gordo then the most improved then, but the other two, I got to say, are not too shabby either.
Yeah, of course, like you said, Vessia, they're coming up from bronze, they're getting promoted. I think he was actually P3 in the bronze championship last season and stuck at it the whole season. Then I think he was P8 in the silver season in the end, which just shows the ability that he's improved on in this season as well. As a bit of a jump start then, so for the Aston Martin there. But yeah, of course, and then Mumford. Then Mumford had a great season in silver, and it's been an absolute pleasure to watch and commentate on him as well. And for Gordo, like you said, struggling in various stages of the early stages of this game. I think in the ground effect era, like you said, has really kicked on then from a good final end to last season, and once again sort of battled back then in this one as well, and done a great job in the Mercedes.
I need to grow up, don't I? Even when there's some little bugs in the game, I still think it's hilarious. But unfortunately for King, I think he was a bit too keen to get his season going, and I don't think King raced him anymore after this, unfortunately. But yeah, issues there with the jump start there. But of course, the most infamous jump start, if anyone remembers, was Welsh Maldonado in Abu Dhabi, Alex, which I don't know why, it always puts a smile on my face. But I must say that silver was pretty impressive then. But in the opening stages of this British Grand Prix, Alex, I'm going to say, I bet you think he was going to have an absolutely action-packed season then with the amount of incidents going on at the stage.
Yeah, it was a bit of an uncharacteristic silver start, wasn't it? Because usually silver's the best and the cleanest. But that was when I was the admin, of course. There you go. No, I think, like I said, this silver grade, especially this season, was pretty close, very consistent, very much bunched up, as we can see here. Yeah, I think that was a credit to the drivers and the ability that they've got. Then, of course, there was some absolutely fantastic races this season, and I can't remember all of them. I can't even remember this far back to Silverstone because it was too long ago and my memory's fading. Yeah, of course, Silver, like I said, there's always been a great division, albeit there's a bit of a slide then for the Alfa Romeo then. Yeah, always been a great division in terms of just like the performances and of course the attendances, that sort of thing as well. So yeah, it's oh dear, this is not how to overtake. Yeah, I think like I said, there's unfortunately for Craig R had a fantastic qualifying. I think it was absolutely brilliant to see Craig R up the order. Hopefully he can keep that up for next season as well then. Yeah, I think overall Silver's been absolutely epic this season. Like I said, there's been some ups and downs throughout the season, but like I said, it's 17 rounds. It's not going to be absolutely perfect every round, is it? But no, I think all credit to the drivers then who put in a fantastic show then week in, week out then for the 17 rounds this season as well.
I remember watching the opening couple of races in silver from the comfort of my own bed. I loved it. You need to do some AMSR, Alex, because your voice is very soothing when things go in calm in silver. But unfortunately, that only ever happens either in qualifying in the first 5 minutes or when you're interviewing. But unfortunately, that's usually either when I'm fast asleep or when I'm wide awake. Anyway, enough about that. As we see, Potts coming in the pits. I want to, talking of Craig R, the opening couple of races, that second Ferrari with Craig R was sublime, I thought. This race, he was very high up in the qualifying order. Whoa, dear. Far again, typical. I joke. But Craig R in the opening couple of races was supreme. But I do feel that Craig R kind of lost. I'm not sure if. I'm not sure what way to put it. It sounds a bit harsh by saying kind of like lost interest. I don't think he lost interest, but I wonder if he just lost the momentum. Very similar to how Boxtel may have lost his momentum in the Gold Championship. Would you agree with that, Alex? Then, because Craig R, I thought was sublime especially in qualifying in the opening 3 or 4 races.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic in qualifying for sure. I think there was a couple of drivers in this silver grid that they had the 1 lap quali pace. We've seen that on previous seasons as well, especially in bronze from the likes of TK and Kiki as well. That they've had fantastic qualifying pace, and it's just been the consistency in the race that need to work on. And unfortunately, I think there was that one spin we saw at the end there for into this corner here in Stowe, but for Craig R, which cost him the ability in this race, in the open race of the season, to score some big points as well for Ferrari. But like you said, kept on with characteristics then of a great driver and carried on through the season as well. Then kept on plugging away and getting as many results as he could. Then of course crossing the line is the most important thing, as we said yesterday in gold. But yeah, for Craig R, I think he was struggling on the wheel. Then with this season, or this whole season, he was struggling. As a fantastic overtake there for a reflection. But yeah, like I said, he was struggling with Craig R, and I think there was a couple of other drivers that potentially were struggling too, which is why they've not had the best of seasons. But of course, they were committed. They kept on going for it, and of course, like I said, they still helped put on a fantastic silver season 7, in my opinion.
Dramatic scenes in the final couple as well, as Madge said, who is making their debut in silver with the Ferrari there. Of course, we'll see a lot about Madge later on as well, as we go through this one. Gordo also taking a trip off there as well. A bit of cross country there from Gordo. I'm sure he's from Scotland, isn't he? There, maybe he just wanted to be a bit more closer to his roots potentially. I'm not really sure where Northamptonshire is, but I'm sure it's a bit more up north, isn't it? But nonetheless, we've had enough about my geography stuff. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, Alex. We've only just started. Gosh, going into this season, and what did you? Who was you looking at to be a potential world champion? And it's it's a Haas team get a 1-2, and I've got to say the constructors look pretty imperious there for the Haas team. But let's talk about the drivers first. And who was you thinking before and potentially even after this race? Then that man is going to be the champion.
Well, based on the first race, I thought it was going to be Nigel, then bouncing back to gold. Then after coming back down from gold last season, I thought he was going to go straight back up. Then he was definitely on some good form then at the beginning of the season for sure. Obviously, Farthing has done a good job then in this race. Same for I thought Dylan and Mags. Of course, Dylan was a runner-up in silver the previous season as well. So and Mags joining the grid then looked formidably fast as well. So yeah, I couldn't pick a name, but I did think after this race, especially the pace that Nigel had shown was his to go for, really, his to lead.
I agree with that as well, because of course Nigel, the first ever ALR champion, way back on F1 2018. Nigel then potentially being the first ever double silver champion. That's what I thought you was going to be saying at the end of this championship, Alex. But you'll see in a few moments or over the next hour that actually that is not the case at all. Haas 1-2. Of course, we mentioned last night as well. Ferrari only ever had 1-1-2 of the season. Haas started off the season with a 1-2. Pretty impressive stuff indeed. Delando in a superb third position there without Glocks. He was leading this race for more often not than only getting fourth position in the end there, and really maybe more sign of things to come then. Of course, in the Constructors' Championship, first 1-2 then for Haas, said it really set them on their way, didn't it? And incredible stuff indeed there. Of course, 3 teams yet to score there with Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, and the Williams team bringing up the rear then as well. In terms of constructors, Alex, and did you? I remember going through the driver draw. We did say that the Haas team did look the strongest outfit, or was you thinking slightly differently after Silverstone?
Yeah, well, definitely confirmed that, didn't it? But with a great result, then the 1-2 then. But obviously, the likes of McLaren, Alpine, and Ferrari were going to be there or thereabouts as well, in my opinion. But I think, like I said, credit to all the drivers and who put on a show for the 17 rounds. It was very good constructors battle as well. Then as we go into the most consistent, and we've already seen Mumford then, but he's done it again. Has Mumford? He's of course, like I said, had a good season. Like I said in the previous award, then he's had a good season, but he's done. A very cleanly, like I said, sometimes unnoticed in some races, then, but scoring big points in those races and getting to the start finish line very quickly indeed, which is credit to him as well. Then, unfortunately, Farf is here as well for some reason, but Farf did get, yeah, exactly, yeah, he did get a race win here in US of A round 15. Then we're only two to go then, and of course that was quite important then for the constructors fight for Haas as well. But yeah, a bit of a shame that we had to interview Farf then after a race win there as well. I never wanted to do that, but unfortunately he got a couple of podiums this season. And of course Dylan then the challenger for the title, one of the favourites for the title as well then at the beginning of the season, and of course getting his race win here in one of his race wins I should say in Zandvoort. So yeah, very consistent lineup indeed. That's that trio I should say, and of course you can see that in the standings at the end of the season as well. They're very high ranking in the standings due to their consistent performances.
You could say Mumford consistently in the awards. Haha. That was award for consistent. I was waiting to say that ever since I seen it pop up. Yeah, Farf, congratulations as well with second position, discouragingly. And well done to Delando as well with superb consistent as well. And here, actually, listen to this. Delando only missed one race, and that was due to a storm, I think it was, where we had very wet and wild weather. I can't remember. Was it Storm Iris or something like that? I'm not sure. But that was in race Delando missed then, and in and in 11 of the 16 races, Delando was on the podium, which was two more than the eventual world champion, which was Madsen. So that's a very interesting stat indeed. That's why he got most consistent. Oh dear, oh dear. And unfortunately, it's got a bit of a horror show into turn 1 and 2. Then we are now into Spain. Then first of all, Alex, nothing to do with the season review, but I'm so happy that Spain has been reverted back to how it used to be, back to its former glory, taking out that Mickey Mouse chicane, and of course also making turn 10 and 11 a bit wider than as well. Are you happy with the changes to this circuit? Ooh.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I think some of the drivers then not so much, but no, I think it's definitely helped the racing for sure, and I think we'll see it here tonight as well. But yeah, it's definitely helped in terms of encouraging some more overtaking as well, and of course carrying some more speed onto the main straight to help with the overtaking in towards turn 1 as well. So yeah, fair play to whoever decided to call the shots and change the circuit layout because it's helped. So that's all good in my book. That is.
I do a lot of moaning about modern day Formula One. Alex, as everyone attests to, that watches gold and bronze. But one thing, you're right. I think that this is a brilliant change as well as Farfair, who is it me or does Farf remind you of a very early Kobayashi, Alex, where he just always seems to dive in and go for some incredible overtakes. Superb stuff indeed there from Far. But I'm absolutely loving the new changes as well. And yes, oh dear, as that's interesting. So it's the champion rivals potentially going and having a bit of a blow into turn 1 and 2 there. But you need some cojones now, don't you, to drive around this circuit, especially the last sector. It's absolutely superb stuff indeed. But Alex, a bit of an issue there into turn 1 there for Madge there potentially, and Dylan. Do you reckon that could have caused some issues then between the two drivers?
Well, I think they were rivals but friends at the same time in this season. Of course, being Irish based, as we've seen quite a few Irish podiums this season in silver. But yeah, I think like I said, it could have been a bit of a turning point, I suppose you could say, in the championship, even so early on as well. As unfortunately for Craig High, he's had a bit of an issue then, and unfortunately got himself a nice quali ban for retiring on the track as well. But yeah, down to Mags and to Dylan, and they've been as you'll see, they've been absolutely formidable this season as well. the pair of them. Of course, there's been quite a few drivers that you can name that have been absolutely fantastic this season as well. But yeah, of course, they got the high ranking in the standings. We'll have to wait and see which order, but they got the high ranking in the standings then just because of their absolute pace, and of course they're battling as well. They were battling most races, to be fair, because they were on very similar pace, and yeah, that really put the championship then in a very high regard. Then of course towards the end of the season as well. Then, but these races made it. Well, of course, they made it, but they made it the way it was towards the end of the season with the battles that they had earlier on. And like I said yesterday in Gold, when there's not so much to challenge for on the line, there's not so much on the line, I should say, in terms of the championship, especially in the early races. Then you're trying to just get your best results so you can maximise your championship position. And in these early races, unfortunately, the other McLaren then struggling through turn one, it looks like. But yeah, it's all to play for really, and I think that's where we saw, like I said, the likes of Mags and Dylan really open up their gap to the rest of the field in the championship standings.
I've noticed that every incident we've seen so far, there's been a white car in the background, and that's been Farf. So I can see why he's had such a good season. Anyway, enough for joking around that, all this banter and all that kind of stuff. But I do believe that Farf and Smithy Almighty are very good friends. So I'm wondering, oh dear, let's not go down that road. So anyway then, yes. Joking aside, then I do think I enjoy Silver, and one of the reasons why I enjoy Silver, look at this gaggle of cars, and we've got Nigel, old school ALR driver. We have got Farf, we have got Irvine, of course, we've got Jinner as well, we've got Gordo, Reflections, New Potato, Mumford, Mr. Elite. I must say, it did feel like an old school gold grid, didn't it, for periods of time then. But I like Camera Racer we're just seeing on screen now. You mentioned earlier on in this review, Alex, that we had different qualifiers and different races, and Camera, of course, been a pole sitter in his previous. Oh dear, Nigel having a bit of a problem coming in the pits there. Nigel Camera's had a lot of pole positions in his previous race in ALR. He didn't get one this season, but. Alex, what do you mean by a good qualifier, single up pace, and a better racer? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think we've seen it in the season as well that we've had some. It's just literally the 1 lap pace there in qualifying on the soft compound tyres usually. It was just electric then from some drivers as we've seen in the early stages of this review already. But like I said, the likes of Kamara and Craig are that they absolutely had that fantastic 1 lap pace. I'm not quite sure why Farf is trying to turn in when there's a car there, but fantastic from Farf. Yeah, but like I said, they're down to consistency and race pace there as well. It's just literally, of course, some drivers can have that 1 lap pace and just not have the race pace as well as. Oh dear, there's another problem into turn one. But yeah, I think like I said, for Camaro and for Craig, those drivers that struggled in the races, then it was frustrating for them, but it was also frustrating, to be honest, for me, because I knew that we could see that they had the pace. And it was just unfortunate in the races that it just didn't materialise sometimes for them. Yeah, like I said, for Craig R as well in the last track, that fair play for them soldering on then. And this, I think, going off topic there, but I think this is the race leader then running out of fuel on the final lap then, and this gifted the win to Max in his first win of the season, I believe.
If I remember rightly, so Managers unfortunately threw away a win in Silverstone, and he gained that win back here in Spain. And it felt like, Alex, the 1982 Monaco Grand Prix, where no one seemed to want to win this in Silver at the moment. There, very impressive stuff indeed. And the top 2 Irishmen, also the top 2 in the race as well. I like Yamakovic. He's a reserve driver at the moment, Yamakovic is, but I'm a big fan of the performance he has under his left foot. Really looking forward to seeing him as a full-time driver going forward, and hopefully in Silver, because I think that is definitely his bag as well. But superb race, a superb event that was then. Unfortunately not for Yamakovic, but goodness me, drama on the final lap there as well, as we're looking down the final the final couple of positions as well. I was going to say something, Alex, and I've forgotten what I was going to say, which is nothing unusual for me. But there we go. It was something very, very important, I'm sure. Let's look at the championship a bit quick then, whilst I try to dig that out of the back of my brain. So Manchester leading the way then on 49 points, just a point in front of Favre, with Nigel in third position there. Delando, I think, missed. I can't remember if it was the second or third race. I think it was Austria who missed, and that's why he was in fourth position at the time. Then Sweet getting a good start indeed. But look at the top four. They're completely, they're almost double the points in front of Sweet in fifth position. Vesser, a very good start indeed. But Alex, you notice that the top four have scored very big points earlier on then, and the rest of the field just seems to be sharing the points out at the moment. Did you see at this stage of the season then how this season was shaping up to be?
Yeah, I think you could see. Well, you can see from the standings here in round three that the shape of the the top four, like you said, or the shape of the constructors as well here was already starting to take form only 3 rounds into the season, and that it was scary for some drivers, I think, because they could see that that maybe their hopes and dreams of claiming the top spots were already dwindling, I think you could say. But no, again, it was all credit down to those 6 drivers there, but to the 4 in the driver standings then of putting on a fantastic opening 3 rounds and getting themselves a great result in the opening 3 races of the season.
And then we're coming on to best performance, and Delando is first then in the McLaren, of course, winning those breakaway top 4 then. And what performance is it? Of course it is Suzuka, Japan. And my goodness gracious me, of course, I felt, though, that I keep saying about this changing of the tide and all that kind of stuff, but I did feel that it's an important race, especially with Madge only down in 4th position there. Gordo getting a second there, of course, so Gordo already being in the prominent in the awards, and once again he is good stuff indeed there for Gordo. 17 starts as well this season, a great third position as well. I think that was one of 3 podiums this season for Gordo, if I'm not very much mistaken. He also got 3 driver of days as well then, so hogging all those drivers of days, wasn't he, Gordo? Superb stuff indeed there for the Mercedes driver. And then, oh no, what's happened here? I think you've got a mistake, Alex. That can't be Favre.
It must be a glitch.
And ironic that Favre is the Magnussen picture as well. That's quite funny, isn't it? But let's make no bones about it. Credit where credit's due. Favre driving a superb race in Austria, and Favre forced to get a Grand Prix win as well. I'm sure that Favre got 7 podiums as well over the course of the season. We now go on to round 4 in Hungary. It's a very early stages still in the championship, Alex said, but Britain, Austria, Spain and Hungary, whoever set up this calendar was absolutely brutal. Was it you, Alex?
Yeah, probably. Well, like I said, we had the for season 10 of ALR, the 5th year of ALR, we had the random calendar vote, didn't we? So, the calendar vote for all drivers then, which is just an extra little bit of fun, I suppose you could say, for our 5th year. And of course, we decided to try and keep it in line almost with as I can't turn the telemetry off, we could try to get in line almost with the F1 calendar then, so we could match up and have a few races like we saw for the end of the season, for example, Imola then being the Imola race week in real life sort of thing. So that was the plan anyway. But oh dear, not so good for Gordo in the Mercedes at the back of the field there. But yeah, like I said, it was difficult few tracks to start off the season, I should say. Silverstone, of course, being super fast paced, and any mistake can be very costly, as we've already seen. And of course, Spain is, like I said, with the remodelling the track, then wasn't too bad. But this one, Hungary here, is very treacherous indeed, and especially this section here where we go up to, we missed it, but we go up towards turn 4 and 5. That is not a very friendly section. Then, if you get it wrong, is it?
Talking of not friendly, I don't think the Alfa Romeo drivers are very keen on each other this season. I think that this is the earlier race, but I'm sure that they had a bit of a tickety-boo later on in the season as well. So this is only round 4, ladies and gentlemen, and they was getting very close with each other as well. I want to highlight a couple of drivers because we're already on. I think this is already our 4th race that we're reviewing, and we need to talk about some drivers then and highlight some impressive performers over the season. I want to start with Alpine if I can, Alex. Mainly because the big pot stuff. I'm sure that correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but this is pot stuff's one and only win and podium this season. But I think that this shows what pot stuff is capable of, because my goodness me, he controlled this race, I believe, didn't he? He was superb.
Yeah, it was absolutely formidable this race, I should say. But he's had a good season overall, in my opinion. Like I said, he's definitely got some good pace in that in whatever car he's in, but in the Alpine this season as well, he's definitely shown it, especially in this one. But I think towards the end of the season, like I said, there's a couple of drivers who sort of tailed off there. I think just getting towards the end of the dip, getting towards the end of the season as well. But still put in the performances. Like I said, I think he had a few issues then with his work trying to get himself into the races as well. But no, like I said, he's like one of those drivers that you always want on the grid because he's a very fair, clean racer, and he's also a very good racer as well. So yeah, so this race highlights it as well. So no, I think like I said, I think this was his best performance of the season, very early on, of course. But yeah, I think hopefully he can kick on and have an even better season next season as well. Then.
Yeah, if he can, if he, it's so difficult though, isn't it? Because drivers do have tracks where they're supreme at. But to me, I thought that at this point in time, just watching this race, the early stage of this Grand Prix, I was like, is that pot stuff? I was like, I was absolutely in awe about how well he was doing. He was doing so well. So if I remember rightly, I think I was trying to play FIFA at the time, and I dropped my controller as I was like, is that pot stuff? Incredible driving. Also, his teammate as well, Reflection, 17 starts this season for Reflections. Reflections who basically, oh dear, as TK is finding the runoff there in turn 4. Sadly, it's not gravel these days, but otherwise TK might have been stuck there. Not sad for TK, of course, but for me, obviously, because I like a bit of gravel. But Reflections there, 17 starts this season. He also participated in most of the event league as well. He didn't do it this season, unfortunately. Reflections didn't, but he's very similar to a Cirrus Mushroom, isn't he? There, where Reflections, ever dependable, just turns up even when races are not going his way. Reflections is absolutely sublime. So I got massive respect for Reflections. Very similar to Brabant and Gold. For Reflections, I'm not sure if I'm selling Reflections very well here, but maybe you could do a better job. But I think Reflections outstanding driver.
Yeah, he's always been, like I said, an ever present in silver, of course, this and last season, and I think the season before that as well. But yeah, he's like I said, a very good driver as well. Like I said, I think Potstaff and Reflection complemented each other. Then they were both very clean, very considerate drivers as well. But yeah, I said Reflection didn't have a great start of the season, but as we saw again, it's like we said in Gold as well. It's sort of a roles reversal in terms of the driver performances and the point scoring that is. But yeah, we saw Reflection gain some big points towards the end of the season as well. Then in the Alpine and start to turn the season around. Then so potentially, if it was a couple more rounds longer, he could have got himself even further up the standings as well. But no, I think. Yeah, like I say, credit to all the drivers who've done put in a shift this season. But yeah, credit to Reflection, of course, for fulfilling every single Grand Prix, racing in every single Grand Prix as well this season.
And you are right. Yeah, the last last 3 or 4 seasons, Reflections been ever present. Hats off to him as well. Never missing a race. Then I can't say that. I think I described the last race of bronze, didn't I, Alex? Shocking stuff indeed. So just watching Irvine now having a good old scrap with Reflections as well. You'll notice that there's an Aston Martin in front of us. R2B2. His trade is normally more often than not was driving in the 100%, but he stepped up to silver. And oh my goodness me, maybe this is not the best time to chat about his credentials, but I must say that going from 100% to 50% races, for me, I think is a very difficult task because you've got half the time to sort your race out. Then, which may sound a bit silly for non-racing drivers, but do you get what I mean by that, Alex?
Yeah, like I said, I think you've got a lot more time to just adapt in the 100% races than you do in 50%. Of course, it's half the race less, isn't it? But yeah, R2B has been a great addition to Silver. Of course, I think he jumped in at the early stage of the season, but he jumped in around this race. Of course, didn't take the start of the season, but again, has been a great addition into the silver division. Then, as Potstaff claims the victory here in Hungary.
Yeah, absolutely superb driving there from Potts. Really good stuff indeed. Once again, the Haas team then really showing how great they were with their consistency. And as we just scroll down the stands as well. Unfortunately, we was trying to compliment RTB, but that was a really bad timing there, wasn't it? Maybe I should have waited until later on then. But I did want to say that RTB converting from 100%, well, he's still in 100%, but went from 100% to silver. I think is no easy feat either. So really hats off, and I'm glad that Archie beats gone to silver as well, because I really liked what I seen in 100%. So really good stuff indeed. There, I sound like an expert there, Alex. Don't I? Goodness me, I'm far from it. So we just take a look at the driver standings, and wow, it's all changed again. Then, so in one race there, we from Spain to Hungary, Farfus in the championship with Nigel second, Delando in third, and Madge in fourth position. Potstuff's incredible performance in Hungary really catapulted him up to fifth position as well. Currently, Camera Craigar in Nude Potato. Surprising stuff from Nude Potato. Of course, the runner-up in bronze last season and having a horror show of a season, unfortunately, for the Williams. Didn't take part in many more races, unfortunately, there for Nude Potato, which is absolute shame there for Nude Potato. Craigar and Camera Racer also having a difficult start as well. And as you said, Alex, brilliant qualifiers, but if unfortunately points do not get scored in qualifying, maybe that's an argument for later on down the line potentially. But if points was awarded in qualifying, Craigar and Camera Racer be easy in the top 10. Constructors Championship reflects the drivers, doesn't it? Really, with Haas, they're doing a really good job indeed. Then with McLaren on 81, then Delando and Sweet doing a pretty sweet job there, pun intended. Sweet there, Sidney was on pole position in Hungary, wasn't he? Another driver who's pretty good in qualifying, sometimes gets lost in the race as well. Whilst Ferrari climbs up into a superb fifth position there. Williams, unfortunately, only on 5 points at the moment, whilst Dopey Lemons and New Potato had a bit of a difficult start to the season, as was Mercedes with Gordo and Mr. Elite then. Best overtake then, and wow, let's see. And we got Farfair, which I'm not surprised by. Farfair, as we mentioned, he's our resident Kobayashi there. Farfair's there, and let's see which of the overtakes that we got him nominated for. Well, it's Bahrain. It's turn 13. Is it on the outside? You bet your bottom dollar it is. Good stuff indeed there for Farfair on the outside of Delando as well. Goodness gracious me, you got to be up very early in the morning to get on the outside of Delando. Match in second position then. In the Ferrari there for Madge then. Of course, what a season this man has had then. But of course, I'm trying to refrain from spoilers on the outside Madge of turn 5. Goodness gracious me. Not only is he quick, he is brave as well. Going into chicane, I can't even fit through the chicane, and I'm just going in on my own. Brilliant driving there from Madge there. Of course, as he was coming back through the field, and of course, Reflections there. ALR fan favourite. I'm not going to make no bones about it. Reflections been superb, hasn't he there, since coming into silver there, and has never missed a silver Grand Prix. And going on the inside down into Stowe. My goodness gracious me, Alex, you mentioned about how good that overtake was when we was going through the British Grand Prix not too long ago. Very much similar to Hakkinen and Schumacher in Spa 2000 there, with poor Ricardo Zonta in the middle of them. That was a great overtake there from Reflections. Quick overview of those overtakes, Alex.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Apart from Farf being involved, but there we go. No, fantastic from those drivers. Of course, there was quite a few other candidates as well. Then, but like I said, it's a long season. There's quite a few overtakes as well. But no, those Reflection then getting the top spot. Then, of course, like we were just saying, a great race then from Reflection in Hungary. Then, but that overtaking Silverstone then on two veteran drivers as well. Then was no mean feat. Then as we go into Suzuka.
The land of the rising sun then. And of course, Suzuka's seen a lot of championship showdowns. We're not going to see it here tonight then, but a major factor going forward then. Oh dear, in the as we go forward and into the championship showdown there, as Suzuka won DRS though, and the only figure of 8 circuit on the calendar, quite late into the season as well, Alex, like a standard Formula 1 calendar. Oh my word there. Do you? I think this is a driver circuit. This is very much in the top 3 for me for the best circuits on the game. And as a driver, because of course when you was driving for gold, then what was you thinking about Suzuka going into this event? Then was you thinking, yes, this is my opportunity then to really throw the car around, or was you thinking, I just want this race over with? Oh dear, as potentially that Red Bull of Irvine might want this race over as well. What was you thinking about going into Suzuka as a driver?
Yeah, I like Suzuka as well. Like I said, it's it's a racer's track in my opinion. It is literally like the historic Grand Prix circuit, isn't it? It is yeah, making sure you get through unscathed, uninvolved, I suppose you could say. Um, so yeah, basically, it's just a classic F1 racing circuit in my opinion. I love Suzuka. Like I said, I like the other classic tracks as well. To be honest, especially a bit of Monaco. But yeah, I think racing around Suzuka is always good fun. And of course, with the new calendar, of course, it's round 4, I believe, isn't it, or round 5, something like that. So it's even earlier on in the season now.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, the last race that was early in Japan was actually Aida, wasn't it? Pacific. It's such a shame we don't have classic tracks on Formula One, isn't it? Though that'd be possibly one of the classic ones. Well, maybe not. Actually, it wasn't very good. But as Madge has now moved himself into P4, there a lot of incidents on the opening stage of this race. But as we come up to the halfway stage in Suzuka, and we just seen Irvine having a couple of issues as well. But as this season was very much well over half distance now, Alex. How was what was you feeling? There were some drivers and it was just having a very unlucky seasons. Was there some drivers that you think that potentially their performance was not up to their performance? You was a bit disappointing and potentially you expected more from.
No, I think, like I said, there were some drivers who, as I said, there's some drivers who struggled in the races compared to the qualities. There were some drivers whose teams sort of turned around the fortunes, as we talked about pot stuff and reflection as well. Then I think it was we saw from Gordo as well. Gordo and Mr. Elite, they did the same sort of thing. They switched their form around, I think, during the season somehow. But yeah, I think it was just a question of carrying on consistency sort of throughout the whole 17 rounds. And like I said, it is a long season still, even though it's not a very long ALR season. So yeah, that's where I think we saw some drivers then starting to struggle, and then maybe some coming into the fight a bit more as they sort of got their heads down a bit more. So yeah, it really, well, I think that's the good thing about the long season as well, is that it sort of varies your outcomes, your abilities, and your form throughout the season, and that's part of championship racing, really, because it's very short compared to an F1 season. But again, you've got to battle yourself as well as the other drivers on track, making sure you keep it consistent, keep it as clean as possible, and get the results.
What I like about Silver, I like the feisting up of the midfield. We just sit Camaro and Jenner going through the 130R. I know it's easy flat these days, but you still got to be quite brave gentlemen to go through there. Superb stuff indeed, as you just see Madge also involved. Well, this is a crazy battle, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. Talking of Jenner, a very challenging season for the former bronze champion now. I think in Silver it's been a bit more difficult, hasn't it, there for the former bronze champion now for Jenner, of course, hasn't it there? But he has, but like Mr. Elite, both drivers have not had the rub of the green for most of the season, but both of them participated in some majority, if not all, the races there. A big respect to them, similar to Reflection as well, actually. But with just coming to the races there and trying to put on a performance there, very impressive stuff indeed. Then absolutely sublime stuff, and hopefully we'll see him back next season as well, because that's the kind of drivers that I enjoy watching there. And I also, not going to make no bones about it, but I do like seeing drivers really putting in a superb performance when it's not going their way.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, even when it isn't going your way, like we've seen for some drivers in gold as well yesterday. But like I said, even when it's not going your way, you're soldiering on and putting in your best result, putting in the best performance you can, even if it's not maximum points where you're familiar with or where you want to be, of course, because every driver wants to be there. But like I said, sometimes it's just not possible. Just ask me. I haven't been racing for points in the last few seasons. But yeah, I think that makes it more enjoyable for me to get a point every now and then. But yeah, I think, like I said, consistency is key in any form of racing, not just league racing, obviously. So yeah, I think that's obviously where some drivers have come to the forefront, and some drivers have struggled a bit over the season as well.
That's very good comparison, really, because Mr. Elite, yourself, and Jinner have had some very good success over the previous years in ALR. Of course, Jinner, a former bronze champion, Mr. Elite finished third in the championship, a gold one season as well, and of course, there's also a constructors championship. Alex, yourself, we are 3 times Grand Prix winner. Do you think? How do you keep your motivation going? Potentially, as your best years are behind you, or is that a very unfair comment by me?
Well, in my experience, I just take it race by race. I don't have to think about too far ahead or too far behind because I can just wipe whatever just happened out of my memory. As I've already said before, I can't remember what happened or what I have for breakfast. So it's not a problem thinking back, thinking forward. I'm just like I said, taking it race by race in whatever the situation is. So I think it helps, especially for the likes of Mags in top of the standings there, Dylan as well, and Farfu challenging for the top spot. Because you can only race what races in front of you, sort of thing. So, taking it race by race, especially for a championship contender, is the best thing you can do, in my opinion. And just trying to maximise what you can do on that race weekend.
And then if you just take a look at the Constructors' Championship as well, Haas leading quite nicely at the moment from McLaren, who McLaren of Delando and Sweet doing complementing each other there. Sweet has had, as we mentioned, Sweet I'm sure got a pole position earlier on the season as well. Unfortunately, no podiums though for Sweet, but still getting in the decent results. And Ferrari and in third position as well. Unfortunately, Craig are having a nightmare race, but a nightmare season. But Madge there certainly challenging for the championship and giving Ferrari all those points as well. Alpine very much in the middle ground, really, isn't it? Then the rest of the constructor championship, Alex, look at that. All the bottom six constructor championship was so close together. Impressive stuff indeed. Now then, for driver of the season there, and in third position was Delando then. Of course, Delando there. What a season he's had as well. Of course, 2 Grand Prix wins, 3 pole positions. As I mentioned, 11 podiums to his name. Supreme stuff indeed there. And I don't think Delando had a DNF at all. And of course, challenging the championship right down until the final race in Imola, which we're going to show you in just a second. Farf was second there. I think that Farf, in the last couple of seasons for Farf, he's very much been starting to really climb up and find his footing in these ground effect cars. Of course, I think he finished 4th last season or 5th. Then in the season before, I'm sure he finished 6th. He went from the midfield of silver right up until the sharp end there. So far from the last couple of seasons, been supreme stuff indeed. There. And Madge then is driver of the season now. What a season this young man has had. Then 7 Grand Prix wins there in 17 starts, 12 pole positions in 17 qualifying attempts there, 9 podiums there, only and of course only 2 DNFs as well. I think that is the second highest pole ratio in ALR history, which I'm sure is only behind Glock, who had 15 pole positions in one season, if I'm not very much mistaken. Or was it 11? I can't remember now. And now we are into I'm not going to pronounce the Grand Prix name. Maybe I should just call it San Marino, Alex said. But the final race of the season in Europe as well. I think that this is a tough circuit, and as the 2 championship protagonists, and which is between Delando and Madge, then going into the final race, Alex, goodness gracious me, I think I would not have liked to be challenging for the championship on this circuit.
Yeah, it made it interesting for sure. I think we had two championships decided. Of course, we'll have to see tomorrow's one. But Max then was of course leading the championship there by, I think it was 14 points then going into this race, then the final race of the season. And of course, Dylan was looking to try and fight on then in this one as well. Yeah, like I said, not a famously overtaking friendly circuit, this one, but still a very good spectacle. Of course, a historic track indeed as well for many reasons, but a very good racers track as well. Once again, similar to Japan in that sense. But I think it would be. Of course, it's not always the like I said, the best for overtaking, but a champion to be crowned here in Imola, I think is fitting indeed.
Certainly is, and such a historical race as well. Imola is. I absolutely love the classic. This going down to a classic circuit in Imola. Ultimate Beast. He's had a very difficult season, if he doesn't mind me saying so. But I was quite confident at the beginning of the season. Now, I thought Ultimate Beast was going to be there or thereabouts because when he first debuted in ALR, he was supreme. I think he finished 5th or 6th in the championship on his debut, and that was when he missed several races at the beginning of the season. But he has struggled this season. But on this circuit, on this day in history, pun intended, he was a different beast then, wasn't he? His opening laps in this Grand Prix was sublime. Unfortunately, on lap 6, it did go a bit backwards for him there. But it's like pot stuff in Hungary, isn't it, Alex? Where the drivers just seem to absolutely just turn their careers on their head. It's like Massa in Turkey as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was Beast who claimed the win in Silver last season in Imola as well. I think it was his only win of the season then, as unfortunately for Mags. Then I think that was almost costly for his championship at this stage of the race. But Beast then just showing the pace that he has got, that he's got as well, that we've seen before in previous seasons and seen in this final race of Silver season 7 as well. I think, like you said, both the Red Bulls, both Ultimate Beast and Irvine as well, have got some great pace. We've seen some flashpoints throughout the season with some good results and a couple of podiums here and there as well from both of them. But yeah, Beast in this final race then just thought, well, screw the championship. I'm going to go and do what I want in this race and stay out in the lead as much as I can. And I think he did a very good job.
He certainly did, didn't he? Beast is not a man to be overshadowed, is he? For incredible sympathy. There's his teammate Irvine there. And of course, I'm not going to try and make too many spoilers, but potentially we might have a bit of a flashback to Colboat in Silver next season as well. Potentially as a former rival of Irvine might be joining them in Silver next season as well, which I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I think both Red Bull drivers I thought were going to be pretty solid then. Solid if not spectacular, which I think is the wrong word to say about Beast, isn't it, there? Because he's always spectacular. Same with Irvine as well. But I do feel that there's some untapped potential for both those drivers, because I do think that there is certainly multiple wins in them as well, and I do think that potentially championships could be coming their way if they can just find a couple of tenths here and there and maybe a bit more race pace potentially. But of course, F1 spelled backwards as if, as Murray Walker said there. Of course, also a quick word on Fangio as well. Fangio took the place of New Potato. Fangio, a former runner-up in Silver, I think, and he did a very good job there with 2 wins and 6 podiums in the end for Fangio. But I think overall he did join the championship a bit too late there to challenge for the title. Alex, so as we are counting down to the end of this season as well, this is a championship showdown in Imola. Silver does seem to have a lot of championship showdowns. Of course, I do remember a couple of memorable ones. Then, of course, Abu Dhabi's one there. This one's also going to go down as a memorable one as well. 14 points separates Delando and Madge. Then, of course, safety cars in this race. I did mention it's an old school circuit where anything can happen, and it certainly was happening at the time as well. Every time I seen a yellow flag and a red dot, I thought that Madge was off the circuit. Then Craig R was having a difficult time then, and also Alex, I think I heard that you was on the edge of your seat as well. You seem to be on tent hooks in the commentary box.
Well, there was a title on the line. I was, especially in the opening few laps then, where we saw Dylan get a flying start then, and just at the end of that, I think it was lap 7 out of Tozer, then that Mags had that issue, that spin, well, not almost spin, that cost him a few places, and it was all over the place in terms of who was winning the title in the opening stint. It became a bit clearer then, of course, towards the end, as you can see here as well. But like I said, it was testament to how the 2 drivers have been competing this season, as taking the escape over the chicane there. But like I said, again, it came down to the wire. Then a credit to the McLaren driver of Dylan, and of course the Ferrari driver of Max, and for a fantastic season overall, and well deserved. Well, we'll see in a minute who won the title, but well deserved to whoever won the title, I shall say. Again, like I said, again, this circuit, we've seen a few bumps and scrapes already, but again, we've talked about the nature of the circuit then. But like I said, overall, Silver, again, credit to all the drivers who have put in a shift every week this season from Silver. They've been committed in and put on a fantastic show week in, week out. And again, I think it's been a pleasure to commentate on from my point of view as well. And thank you very much to all the Silver Season 7 drivers who put on a shift.
Indeed. We just seen Dopey Lemons there. Horror show this season for Dopey Lemons. I'm not sure if he's coming back next season either. I've heard a whisper that this might be Dopey Lemons' last season, which is such a shame. Not the way that he would like to finish his career. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I'm sure I read somewhere that Dopey Lemons might be hanging up his steering wheel for the foreseeable future, which is absolutely a shame to hear. And of course, Sweet, as I mentioned, they got a podium in Hungary. Sweet did, and I think overall a so-so season for Sweet as well. But I do think, like Beast and Irvine, I think there's some untapped potential in Sweet's repertoire as well. As the championship was just one lap away now, Madge in third position, and Delando was in fifth at this time, and with a penalty as well. But Beast said, what a performance there for Beast, superb stuff indeed. But Madge comes across the line to win the championship. I must say the tension from the commentary box for yourself, Alex, and me also clinched as well. Almost clinched as well from watching from my phone. I don't know how the drawers was able to keep with the pressure, but a final word from yourself for the season overall, and tell us and give us a few incredible words about Madge as being the Silver 7 champion.
No, like I said, it's been, well, Silver Season 7, superb, I suppose you could say. Stupendous, as some boxing people might say. But no, I think, like I said, again, credit to all the drivers who've put in a great 17 rounds in of racing for Silver Season 7. It's been a pleasure to commentate on again, but hopefully I'll be back next season if I'm allowed. But credit to Mags, of course. Mags, a well-deserved champion here, of course, crowned in the final race of the season in round 17. Dylan took him all the way, but Mags then came out on top then after, like I said, a brilliant season, a brilliant record then this season as well, and of course competing in all 17 races this season helped him win the championship. I think they got him some extra points over Dylan, who of course missed that one race because of the storm. So.
Not very so. Just think about that. What could have been then? Thank you very much, Alex. As we are now winding down then to the end of Silver. What a superb season 7 it has been a Silver. Madge world drivers champion there from Silver, with Delando in second position there, and Farf in a superb third position. Brilliant stuff there from Farf. Nigel fourth, and of course both me and Knowlesy thought that Nigel was going to be up there. Fanjo in fifth position there, only participated in 12 races in the end. Then Mumford, superb great season in sixth position there. Potster, Gordo, Ultimate Beast, and Vestia completes the top 10. There's a lot of drivers on that screen that I'm looking at now. I think if they hit the ground running on F124, could be Knowlesy saying that they will be champion next season. Superb stuff indeed. Of course, Constructors Championship as well. Haas won the Constructors. They started off so well with that 1-2, didn't they? Haas was probably one of the strongest teams out of all championships in ALR this season in Silver. Superb stuff indeed. McLaren second, and Ferrari in third position. So close between McLaren and Ferrari in the end there, wasn't it? But of course, Haas was the victors there. Alfa Romeo, unfortunately, getting the wooden spoon in Silver. And as of course we are winding down now then for the end of this Silver review, and let's just talk about the admins driver of the season, and very begrudgingly, but we have to give it to Farf. He has been superb, and just what we said earlier on, then Farf has been very much been stepping up. His performances have been superb in the last couple of seasons, and this season thoroughly deserved third position there, and absolutely brilliant stuff indeed there for Farf. Of course we give him a hard time, don't we, Farf? But to be honest, he deserves it after some of the interviews he gives Knowlesy there over the course of the season. Congratulations to Farf, superb stuff indeed there. And of course, the £20 gift voucher then for any driver who, of course, participated in all the races. It is Reflections. Yes, that is superb stuff indeed there for Reflections. And very much, as we said already, he was superb throughout the season and not missing a race. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.